I want to just highlight how completely and utterly ridiculous Israel is by going over something that is currently underway. So there is this Indian Jewish sect, most of whom, by the way, aren't even Jewish. How might that be? Well, let me explain it to you. So this community of roughly 10,000 people worldwide are a bunch of Indians who believe themselves to be Jewish. What's the history? Well, in 1951, a leader of a Christian church in these people's community had a vision claiming that his people were the descendants of the Israelites. And then he told them all, guys, we're Jewish now. And they decided they were Jews. They decided they were descended from biblical Jews. And now they're Jewish. Most of them don't even practice Judaism. None of them have any actual Jewish ancestry, so-called Jewish ancestry. They had no connections whatsoever with Judaism, the Jewish community, anywhere else. But hey, they're just Jewish now because a guy said he had a vision that is Jewish. And now 5,000 of them live in Israel. 5,000 of them, people who just randomly decided that they're Jewish. 5,000 of them got to move to Israel, straight into a Palestinian house, onto stolen Palestinian land. They get to join the IDF and mass murder Palestinians. Just a bunch of Christians who decided that they were the Jews from the Bible. And now they get to move to Israel. So, Israel has this problem where they need colonists to expand that colony. But there's only a finite amount of Jewish people in the world. What are there, 18 million Jews in the world? Something like that. Some of whom don't want to come to Israel. And that way of trying to deal with that is to just let people who, by their own laws, should not be considered Jewish, supposedly become Jewish and let them migrate to Israel, to usually put them in places where they can be frontline settlers to help Israel lay claim to disputed areas or areas they're still trying to actively colonize, like the West Bank and Gaza. The funniest part about these guys is that when they move to Israel, they have to convert to Judaism. They're not considered actual Jews. And when they get there, the Israeli rabbis have to give them a real Orthodox conversion before they can be given citizenship. It's a fucking joke. Before Israel withdrew from Gaza, they were the largest group of Israelis in settling Gaza, to give you an idea of where they put them. Look at this fucking article in the Jerusalem Post. India's Bnei Menashe Jewish community set for historic homecoming in Israel. Because Israel is trying to recruit the ones who are remaining in India and bring them to colonize Palestine. Because they need them for the demographics. They want to put them on the settler front line and such. Historic homecoming. They're bringing 6,000 of these people in for a homecoming to a place they've never been. Isn't that wonderful? Because in 1951, a community leader just randomly decided that he was Jewish and everyone else was also Jewish. So now they're coming home, guys. A journey that began more than 3,000 years ago. It was promised to them 3,000 years ago in 1951. So, according to Middle East Eye, the plan is to settle them in the Galilee region. The Galilee region is a historic Arab-majority region, and the Israeli government has been for a long time undertaking an official policy that they call the Judaization of the Galilee, which is them bringing in settlers to settle there and Judaize it and, make Jews a majority there and eventually get rid of the Arabs, basically. So what Israel does is they just randomly decide that people on the other side of the fucking world are Jewish, just out of convenience, and invites them to colonize a place and accepts them into the Israeli conception of Jewish, just because they desperately need bodies to reinforce that colonial project. In the same way that the Nazis strategically accepted random Polish kids as supposed long lost Germans as long as they had blue eyes and blonde hair and weren't Jewish. It's the same sort of thing. They needed numbers for the colonial project, so they found rationalizations to do so, because their primary goal is the genocide of the Palestinians above all else, and they're willing to stretch their own rules a little bit, because it's ultimately a Jewish supremacist project, and letting certain people, who obviously aren't Jewish by their own rules, become Jewish out of convenience is considered to be a lesser evil to them, if it means that they can assist them in getting rid of the Palestinians. What a total and ridiculous joke. This just demonstrates how ludicrous settler colonialism is and how ludicrous Israeli justifications for their state are. This is our ancestral home. These people have no ancestry. Their origin is that some whack job decided, like in the same vein as people who decide that they're the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, that him and his community were Jewish, but yet they're still happy to take them in and be like, you guys are Jews just like us. Here, go and colonize this Palestinian land. Just really demonstrates the ludicrousness of the state of Israel. This was promised to us 3,000 years ago. Anyway, here's these guys who just randomly decided they were Jewish in 1951. Most of whom, by the way, don't even practice Judaism. So yeah, what else is there to say? What a total fucking joke.